Well, hello everyone. This is DCB, and welcome to my first attempt at a live stream for the New Year's Eve celebrations and stuff like that. I'm just getting out now the invitations to people to like on Facebook and Twitter to say that come and join me on my New Year's Eve live stream. Stuff like that, to say that that's up. Yeah, there we are. So what we're gonna do in this live stream? That is indeed the question. As you can see, I'm wearing a gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, not really, but a nice warm dressing gown. Got myself my philosophy books here, ready to go for any philosophy that we're gonna do. I will also answer any questions that you have and you want to put forward to me. And when it gets nearer to midnight, I'm going to do my best to, of course, celebrate the new year. That may not happen, depending if we actually have anyone turn up to this. So I'm probably at the moment just talking to myself, rambling on randomly about this. So it's what 10:50. So we got just over an hour. We've got an hour and 10 minutes before we celebrate the New Year. So I would like to first of all discuss, if we will, the new thing I've got recently, which is a book from Xiao Su, The Art of War. You may have heard of this. It's from a Chinese practitioner of war, and how they use their knowledge and wisdom to try and, well, what's the word? Educate others? Yeah, educate others. So obviously, Shen Su, being a general, says that there's a few steps to obviously being a great general and to winning. Hello, for those who are just tuning in. Sun Tzu said that the art of war is a vital importance to the state, to the country, to the government of the time. It is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence, it is a subject of inquiry which can on no account be neglected. That's basically saying that this stuff should not be neglected. The art of war then is governed by 5 constant factors to be taken into account when one's deliberations and seeking to determine the conditions of attaining the field of battle. These are the moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, method, and discipline. The moral law causes the people in complete accord with their ruler, their country, the state, so they will follow the leaders, the generals, regardless of their lives, undismayed and unfazed by any danger. Heaven significates night and day, cold, heat, times, seasons. Earth comprises distance, great and small, danger and security, open ground, narrow passages, the chances of life and death. The commander stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. By methods and discipline are understood the marshalling of the army and proper subdivisions, the graduations of rank among the officers, and the maintaining of roads which supplies may be reached, the army, and control of military experiences. Now, I know it's a bit random that I'm discussing the art of war on New Year's Eve as part of the live stream, because obviously I focus a lot of try to focus a bit on philosophy here, discussions, that kind of thing. I do like to try to interpretate what these people have said, what they're trying to get us to say, and what they want us to think about. And I think that's a good thing to reflect on the knowledge of the past as we go forward. So why particularly the art of war? Well, it can be something else that we can look at completely as well, as not just for the sake of fighting, but for the sake of development and the sake of life, how we need to assess our surroundings and stuff like that. The 5 rules that Sun Tzu has said in his Art of War should be familiar to every general, and they should be familiar to every person. So if you don't have the moral law, where you are completely in accord with yourself, with your ideals, with your situation, then how can you follow that out? How can you see that path to its end? If you're not aware of the seasons, the night, the day, the heat, the weather, how can you adjust yourself to go out and face the world? How can you plan your days around the weather? Same with the earth thing, about if you are traveling, if you're going to work, how can you comprise the distances? How are you aware of the danger of those routes that you take? Are you aware of your own security? Do you know what places are open and closed at certain times? Do you know what places are busy and quiet? Do you know where, if you are attacked, are the best places to go to seek help? The commander, obviously, that stands for your virtues, your wisdom, your sincerity, your benevolence, your courage and strictness. That's your strictness of yourself, your internal courage. I have a phone call. Excuse me, I do apologize. Hello, kitty cat.
Hello.
You alright?
Yeah, I thought I'd give you a call before I get ready for work.
That's alright. I'm actually recording.
Okay.
But yeah, I know you don't want to be at work. Yeah, but I miss you, my dear.
I miss you too, puppy.
Alright, now you be safe and you let me know when you get home.
I'll let you know when I'm heading home, okay?
Alright, see you later.
See you later, puppy.
Love you, love you.
Love you, love you.
Bye bye bye.
Bye-bye. Miss you,
Miss you. Mwah. I do apologize about that. That was the wife, the gorgeous, lovely wife of mine, who is a rock and a source of courage for me. She is a focus of strength. She is my goal. She is the person I want to, what's the word? Be with, obviously, but that I want to give happiness to. And by understanding that that is a virtue, love is a virtue, and the wisdom that I have of that, I'm aware of it. And because of the sincerity of that love, it is benevolent and gives me courage to do things. The method and discipline, which obviously from the art of war is about marching the army, is about your method and discipline of yourself, how you manage to have a discipline in order to achieve something, in order to maintain a goal that you have set for yourself, an idea that you want to do, and which way to do it, the method of you to do it. And if you are aware of each of these steps, not only will you be a better person, but if you are in a battle situation and you're commanding an army, as Sun Tzu says, then you should be more likely to have a victory. Of course, there are other factors beyond that, which are beyond your control, and therefore are things that, even though can't be planned for, have to be aware of? Are you aware of the spies in your army? Are you aware of external factors? Is there anyone that's following you? Is there anyone that is taking extra notice of your day-to-day routine? These are things that you will need to be aware of. It's a strategy of survival. We unfortunately have become more and more wrapped up in our ways, in our practices of being so absorbed in our day-to-day lives that we really don't understand or take notice of the passing of time. Now, of course, feel free to answer any questions. Ask any questions that you want me to answer, whether that be philosophy related or anything that you want to discuss yourself. If you have anything that you want to talk about, as we are coming to the end of 2019 in the UK, and we need to look back on how we have where we've come from basically and where we're going, which is why I like to look at philosophy. I like to look at lessons from the past. Some nice stuff from the Hagiko is great. The first sort of paragraph, if you will, it's a big paragraph from chapter 1 from the Hagiko. The Hagiko is the book of the samurai, for those that you don't know. It was written by Yoko Matsumura. Of course, it's been translated by people, and some of the ideas have been adapted, and some of the language has been changed for us to understand it. Chapter 1 begins with, although it stands to reason that a samurai should be mindful of the way of the samurai, it would seem that we are negligent consistently. If someone were to ask what is the true meaning of the way of the samurai, the person who would be able to answer promptly is rare. This is because it has not been established in one's mind beforehand. From this, one's unmindfulness of the way can be known. Negligence is an extreme thing. The way of the samurai is found in death. When it comes to either or, there is a quick choice of death. It is not particularly difficult, but determined and advanced to say that dying without reaching one's aim is to die a dog's death. Inferior way of synopsis. When presented with the choice of life and death, it is necessary to gain one's aim. As literally the first paragraph of the first chapter of The Way of the Samurai, or the Hagiko, the Book of the Samurai. And it starts with that paragraph. Although it stands to reason that a samurai should be mindful of the way of a samurai, it would seem that we all neglect. So basically, in that first sort of sentence, he's gone that the samurai should be mindful of the way of the samurai. And it would seem that it's, in his mind, that is something that they neglect. Consequently, if someone were to ask what is the true meaning of the way of the samurai, the person who would be able to answer promptly is rare. So he's basically saying that even though people claim to be something, when they're asked what is the meaning of being a samurai, in his view, that there will be very few that be able to answer promptly. Now, we in the West understand the samurai to be a class of warriors who lived by a code, who served a lord of the country, and they were skilled warriors. He does go on to say that it's because it's not been established in one's mind beforehand. So that means that the questioning of yourself, or in this case the samurai, has not been thought through, has not been looked at in great depth by that particular person. From this, unmindfulness of the way can be known. So basically, the not understanding of the way. And then it goes on to say, the way of the samurai is found in death. When it comes to it, either or if there's a quick choice of death, it is not particularly difficult. So basically, he's saying that the way of the samurai, the way of the warrior, is found in death. That is the ultimate fate of a warrior. In fact, it is the ultimate fate of everyone, whether you be a warrior, a priest, a sales assistant, a nurse, a doctor, a politician. Everything ends and everything dies. There is no escaping it. Death is certain, and death is coming. And then he goes on to say that dying without reaching one's aim is to die a dog's death is the feverous way of sepsinisms. I don't understand that one. He's saying that the way of a warrior, the way of a samurai, the ultimate way of life, if you will, die. But he then goes to say that dying without reaching one's aim. So if you don't reach your aim, it's a dog's death. That it's an unworthy death. I don't still quite understand that. When presented with the choice of life and death, it is not necessary to gain one aim. And then, of course, he says, when presented with the choice of life and death, it is not necessary to gain one's aim. Once again, I'm not 100% sure what he's aiming for. It could be because of my dyslexia that I am not reading the last sort of lines correctly, and probably why I'm not understanding it too much. What I think he's trying to say is that when somebody says that if you die without reaching an aim, a goal, a purpose, that it's a waste of life. But the person who wrote the Hagiko says when you are presented with the choice of living or dying, it doesn't matter if you've reached your aim, if you achieved your goals, because death doesn't care. Death doesn't wait for us. It doesn't, let us get on. It doesn't let us escape. It is always there. We are always there. It is our constant companion throughout life. It doesn't wait for us. It is always, well, it does wait for us in a way. It's waiting for us to be able to meet it, to be able to greet it, to be able to pass on from this world once our time has come. And that can be at any time. It can be walking down the street. Just literally walking down the street, you could drop down dead. Of course, that's highly unlikely. It's a possibility to be struck by lightning, run over by cars, killed by a random act of violence. Those are some things that, you need to be aware of. Death is inevitable. Let's just say that. Death is inevitable. There is no escaping death. And I think that's something that we try to shy away from, especially from our current culture. Wrapping people up in cotton wool, saying that everything's going to be alright when it's not. There is no reason to be afraid of death. There is definitely, in my opinion, no reason to be afraid of death. It is the ultimate aim of life. It's the end of the road, the end of the journey. Everything that is born does die. And I know that's a weird thing to be doing and talking about at this time of year, but are we not celebrating the death of one year and the birth of another? Are we not counting down to the beginning of something new? Or at the same time, celebrating everything that has come before, everything that is now technically dying? 2019 is dying, in order for 2020 to be born. Does that not say that death itself is the ultimate celebration of life and therefore nothing to shy away from? It is the ultimate achievement of any life, regardless of how long or short it is. It is a question, an idea, a philosophy, things that we will need to think about, things that we need to question within ourselves, something that we need to develop, an idea of that doesn't really matter at the end of the day what we've done. Of course, to us it does, to life in general and the world it doesn't. Doesn't mean that just because life does end that we shouldn't do something with it. We shouldn't aim to be the best person that we can be, to look at our lives and see how we can improve ourselves and help others. Does it mean that we can ever stop learning? No. No. I believe that life is a journey, a path, a way, the way of life, the way of our lives. And the best way to live it is to the fullest way that develops you, that helps you learn, that helps you communicate, that helps you experience and express life itself. Let's say it's a work in progress. It's got many things going on. As I did say, if you do have any questions at any time while you're watching us, if you are indeed watching us, then please do ask. If you want to discuss anything, please do, once again, ask. This is a time of reflection, a time of sincerity, a time of looking to the future, and thus we can discuss things like that. Another thing that once again, there's a lot of good stuff in the Book of the Samurai. There's a lot of good stuff in the Five Rings. There's lots of good stuff in the Art of War. So much stuff that we can cover. So much knowledge and wisdom. And the great thing about this stuff is we can just take what we want. If there's something from these books, from these past lessons, from life that we don't like, we don't always have to take it with us. Like science. Science is a process of learning, of discovering, of experimenting, of coming up with a theory, testing that theory, seeing if you can break it. If you can't break it, give it to others to see if they can break it. If they can't break it, then that becomes our current understanding of something, like the Earth rotating around the Sun, for example. There being 365 days in the year. Not next year, though, there's 366, because it's a leap year in 2020. An extra day in February. Huzzah! Huzzah to extra days in February. What else? Currently, of course, I've come to the understanding that I have to do more. I have to develop more. I need to do more videos that have a wider reach, and not just the philosophy, the culture stuff, or the gameplay stuff. I have developed and continued along this way of a content creator, a philosopher, a human being. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? A human being. Of course, in after that, paragraph. I've gone off for a real tangent there. I have to apologize. But of course, we all want to live. In a large part, we make our own logic according to what we like. But not having attained our aim and continue to live is cowardice. Once again, this is from the Book of the Samurai, the Hagiko. It's a little snippet. We all want to live. And in large part, we make our logic according to what we like. But not having attained our aim and continuing to live is cowardice. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with not attaining your goal and therefore continuing to live even if you haven't attained that goal. It's cowardice. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. It's not always about the destination. It's about the journey. You know, if you want to learn something and you do everything possible to learn it, even if you end up not being able to learn it, just being on that journey is a success. You have pushed yourself from where you were to become a better person and develop yourself. And if you succeed in that goal or not, it doesn't matter. Of course, if you do succeed, that gives you a bigger sort of boost to your ego, to your self-worth, if you want, you know, your thoughts on you and yourself. And why shouldn't it? You know, why shouldn't it? You know, it's there's a lot of stuff like that in the Hagko, the Book of the Samurai. Lots of stuff like that. And there's other stuff like appearances, about keeping your appearance, about serving people. I'd say some of it is translation, some of it is the what it's supposed to be. What else? What else can we discuss at the moment? As well, we've got another 45 minutes. We've got plenty of time. Got absolutely plenty of time to discuss things. So let's discuss. Let's discuss. What should we discuss? Coming into 2020. Let's discuss 2020. 2020 is going to be an Olympic year. The Olympics this year is going to be in Japan, who've just hosted the Rugby World Cup. So that's two major sporting events that Japan is hosting within 2 years, and that's pretty good. Yeah, they've got obviously have the structure in place and things like that. With people, you know, performance. We've got obviously a lot of people out at the moment celebrating the end of 2019 and looking into 2020. There's a lot of people already very drunk that I can hear outside. Now I've gone off on I've just gone off on a tangent there. Whew. Got off on a tangent. So obviously for myself, my self-development, I am learning to drive and I have my test on the 2nd of February 2020, which is a great thing. That is a development of myself. It's something I've wanted to do for a little while. It's been a challenge. Yes, it's been a challenge. Learning something new is a challenge. And I've obviously had I've done loads of mistakes in it. From those mistakes, though, I've learned how to be a better driver, a safer driver, a more aware driver of what's going on and the world around me. I also, at the moment, have a lovely cold, which is affecting my voice so much. And waffling on. Now, why did I want to drive? Not only is it a great skill to have, which allows me to own a vehicle and legally drive on the roads in the United Kingdom, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. But it also allows me a certain freedom. Now, it can mean that I can just get in a car and I can drive to the middle of Dartmoor, which means I can do some filming on Dartmoor. Or I could drive down to Cornwall and do some filming in Cornwall. I can drive with the wife to shopping and get loads of shopping without having to worry about it weighing my arms down as I carry it miles. If we decide to have a family, then it will be great for helping transport the kids places, not having to rely on public transport. Of course, the downsides of driving is the expense of it. The car itself, which is a major financial investment, the fuel to keep it running, the servicing to keep it running, the tires, the oil, the screen wash, the MOTs that you have to have every year after 3 years of a new car. That's if you get a new car. Of course, the road tax, the insurance. It all mounts up. It's not cheap running a car. It's not cheap driving by any stretch of the imagination. It is a useful tool which does open up windows. It can open up development options. It can open up your ability to just go places whenever you want. As long as you are safe and you stick to the rules of the road that have allowed you to pass your driving test that you've learned during your driving lessons, the road is open to you. You can go wherever you like in the country. In England, you can go from down here in deepest, darkest depths of Devon all the way up to Scotland within a day. You can drive the country in a day. Traffic depending. I must stress that. We do have quite a bit of traffic. And that's another downside of driving. There are more and more cars on the road, and we don't have the infrastructure to support that. We don't have the infrastructure to support the current rate of cars on the road, but it keeps on growing. It's a tricky balance. The same with the population growth. We all need somewhere to live, somewhere that we need somewhere to shelter. As we grow and grow as a population in the world, we need more and more space to live in, which means without the space that we had for growing cuts down, or some natural area cuts down, it's a delicate balance. And there is no answer to this. I have no answer to this. I don't know anyone that does have an answer to this. That's not really I suppose it is a discussion that we need to have with ourselves. Are we sustainable? Are we as a species sustainable? I've already done a video on this last year, no, the year before. One of my outside ones. I really want to get back into recording outside. As much as recording inside is a good idea, especially when it's dark and cold and wet, it's too sterile for me. I don't like this plainness. I don't like the way that the lights reduce the quality of the videos. I don't like it. I like being outside, and I like the natural environment. I like the greenery, basically. I like the sound of the birds in the background, the wind as it rustles through the trees and the leaves. I like the random people that just happen to walk across the camera because, that just happens. It's all good. It's all fun. It's all, because it's alive. That's living. Staying inside is so much more dependent on staying inside, so much more shutting ourselves away from the outside world, that we're becoming so much more separate from our environment, separate from each other, where we're not as social as we used to be. At the moment, we can communicate with anyone we want in the world whenever we want. Everyone has one of these. Everyone has a computer in their pocket, a powerful computer in their pocket. There is more power, ignore the Pokemon background, there's more power in this phone than there was when we were sending people to the moon. This has more power than the space shuttles we were sending up in the 90s. In the 90s. And that fits in the palm of your hand, and we put it in our pockets. What do we do with it? What do we do with it? What don't we do with it? Mainly this. Just looking down, staring at it, shutting out the road, scrolling through random news sites. Oh no, I'm becoming preachy. I'm an old man. Oh, but the amount of people with the earphones in and just staring down and not seeing anything around them, not being aware of their surroundings. They are not aware of the earth, of the valleys, of the extractions, of the people. They become the defeated. They become in the art of war, they're not aware of the earth. The whole be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your environment. Notice the time of day, the sun position, the very street you walk down. Are there 6 people following you? Is there one person following you? Is there some people coming towards you? If you're head down on your phone, we're listening to music, you're not going to see them and you're not going to hear them. You're going to bump into them. And that has happened. There's lots of people you've probably seen, and I've definitely seen, that do bump into people. I definitely avoid them. Because I'm not normally on my phone. I normally just, if I do need to phone somebody or text somebody, I go to the side. Make sure I'm not in the way of a walkway. I certainly don't look directly at my phone when I'm walking. People do it when they drive and when they cycle. Just, it's I can't find the word for it. Annoying? No, not annoying. It doesn't annoy me. It's a concerns me. Concerns me. If you're so absorbed in something like that, if you're looking at a news feed or watching a video while you're walking and you're not aware of your surroundings, that concerns me. The amount of people that have stepped out in front of buses and cars and, as I said, bumped into people. How long it is before they bump into a person that's really having a bad day, who's really angry, and it just takes that one thing to push them over the edge, and then they snap, and then they punch them, or they kick them, they do severe damage to them, might even mug them, might be an opportunist criminal. It's like, oh, thank you very much, I'll take that very expensive piece of technology. Thank you ever so much. Oh, look, it's open because you are on it. I don't need your fingerprint. As long as I keep it not going black, I can basically have all your information. Thank you ever so much, especially if you haven't set up any additional protection for your applications on that phone. How many people now pay with their phone? Their bank details are on their phone. Some cars are able to open via their phone as long as it's unlocked, and you unlock it nowadays with a fingerprint and iris recognition. There are some applications where you can add that to them, which I strongly suggest you do, especially if you do use your phone a lot for other stuff rather than calling and texting, so that even if your phone is stolen, that they really can't access it too easily. There's emergency backups. Most of our personal information now is stored on our phones. We don't really need our phones nowadays to be stolen for people to steal our identities. Just type a name into Google, see what comes up. Be surprised. Be surprised. I obviously have a lot, being a content creator, a YouTuber. I've got a lot of videos that come up for that. Even some of the photographs that I posted on my Facebook and Instagram, they are able to be found under my name. Not really that easily, but they're there. And I'm aware that they're there. If you look at my photographs, There's not a lot that has my personal information on it. I think there's like one video, which is my wedding video, where I say my full name. You will not see my full name. It's not going to happen. It's there, though it can be seen and it can be heard. Is my address in it? No. Is my address in any of my videos? No. Is my bank details? No. But yeah, it's a reflection of where we're going as a society, in my personal opinion. Once again, this is all my personal opinion. It's not exactly fact. It's from what I've observed, from what I currently understand, and the philosophy that I've read and studied helps me question our society about where we're going and where we're being and what we're doing. Right, yeah. Been going for 40 minutes. Still got two viewers. Thank you, you two viewers, for staying with me as I just ramble on about these random things. As I keep saying, if you do have any questions that you want to put up, please come into the chat. Let's get some discussions going. Let's get some excitement, some focus about what else we want to discuss in the next 20 minutes. Because that's all it is now. 20 minutes. 20 minutes. 20 lots of 60 seconds before 2019 is over and then 2020 begins. That's all we got left. No, not 20 minutes, half an hour. I'm sorry, I read the wrong clock. I'm looking at the time of how long I've been on for rather than the time of what the actual time is. Confusions, eh? It's one of those things that we get. Confuzzlement. Let me have a think. Sorry, illness. Illness is a thing. But yeah, half an hour. That's all that is left of 2019. Wow. To think that a whole year has gone by from this moment. This moment that is now and will never be again. This moment that we take the time to think of, to reflect on, to plan on for the new year. It is when we start making promises to ourselves about what we want to achieve. Our resolutions, if you will. However, sometimes our resolutions aren't right. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by our resolutions are not right? They are not right in the way that they're not precise. We need two things to complete a goal. We need to know what it is and how we're going to do it. So many people just say, well, I'll go to the gym more. I'll go to the gym, I'll lose some weight. Just no. Okay? No. You'll fail because you don't have a set number. Okay, I'm going to lose 1 stone, and I'm going to do it by going to the gym every Tuesday and Friday. Brilliant. You have a goal. You know exactly what that goal is. You know its number. Will you be able to achieve it by going to the gym every Wednesday and Friday? For a stone? Yeah, pretty much. Especially if you're consistent with it. You have that goal and it has an exact number. It's more likely to be achieved. However, you may still not achieve it if you don't see it through. If you don't go to the gym, of course, you don't have to go to the gym to get fit. I don't know why. How does it help? Yeah, of course it does. You do so much more in the gym than you can do outside. You know, outside you can walk, you can cycle, and you can run. If you have an ocean near you or an outdoor pool, you can swim. If you have some rocks and you're quite capable, you can do rock climbing. If you're confident enough to do rock climbing, you know, that's what you can do. You can do all those things outside. You can do more in a gym. You can do lots of lifting, lots of pulling and pushing, and you also have other things in good gyms that will help you push yourself forwards, whether that be personal trainers or gym classes. Now, gym classes is where a group of people get together and they do a certain set routine, a exercise class, if you will. They'll focus on something like maybe core or cardio. They might say that it is a personal thing, and the exercises there revolve around your name. It might be a spinning class, it might be a yoga class, it might be a boxercise class. But because it's with a group of people, and that class is run by somebody, you might see it as having more value than doing something by yourself. One of the main reasons that I've discovered and I've seen and I personally have experienced is people stop going to the gym, stop trying to lose weight, is because they lose admiration for it. They lose their focus as they don't have anyone to report to besides themselves. And because it's only themselves, they don't feel the same connection to it. Where if there's other people there who are in the same boat as them and they're reporting to somebody who's running it, they feel more they have to honor it. This is why when you are more active in an activity, especially with a group of people who rely on you, you feel more of a responsibility to keep going to that thing. You know, a promise to somebody else we hold in higher regards than a promise to ourselves, being that that promise to the other person has a greater weight on us, a greater sense of responsibility on us than that promise we've had to ourselves. This shouldn't be. You know, why is a promise to somebody else more important than a promise to ourselves? A promise to ourselves should take precedence over a promise to somebody else, and we should hold it in the same regard, if not higher, because we, as an individual, are important. In fact, are more important to ourselves than we are to others. Others can live without us. We can't live without ourselves. Yeah, I know. It's complicated and confusing. It's complicated and confusing. But we really, really need to think about why. Why is it that we hold others higher than ourselves? Why do we look down upon ourselves? Why do we make it so hard for us to achieve things that we want to do? Why do we not even sometimes bother with ourselves and put others before ourselves? Yes, that may seem selfish to say it out loud like that we should put ourselves before others. We should. But then that sounds selfish. And selfishness is nothing and is a destroyer rather than a creator. But if we weren't selfish, then we would never push ourselves. We would never seek our additional knowledge, our additional understanding, our additional fitness if we wanted to get fit, our friends. Having friends, having a family, that is a selfish desire, a desire to be part of something bigger, to be part of a group of people that have similar views, similar ideas, and the company of which you personally enjoy and that you feel you're accepted in. That is a form of selfishness. Of course, there is extremes of that where you just literally focus on yourself all the time. I'm not saying that you need to focus on yourself all the time, but to yourself, you are the most important person. Of course, it's a good thing to think of others, and it's a noble thing to think of others, and it's also the way that we want to interact. Because if we're not thinking of those others that we're trying to interact with, then surely they will not want to interact with us because we do not put their needs in with ours as equals. Equal, not greater, equal. They should be equal, at least in my sort of current thought process, in my current state of mindfulness, in my current philosophy and Zen thoughtness. And that is what I believe, that it should be equal. No, I don't think I'm going to make it to midnight. I'm down to now 0 viewers. For those who watch in the future, thank you for watching this nearly hour ramble about reflections, about thought, about philosophy, about Zen, about mindfulness, about looking back at where we've come from to where we're going. I know I've done a lot of talks about certain ideas, certain thoughts that I've had, and certain things that are my current understanding of the way of things. Once again, for those that have tuned in, thank you for tuning in and listening to me ramble for 52 minutes. 52 minutes of rambling. But yeah, rambling. So before I decide to close this down, have we any questions? Any questions at all? Any questions? Any questions you'd like to put across? Anything that you would like to discuss? Any questions? Any questions at all for me? Any questions that you'd like to see me answer? Anything you would like me to see discuss? Anything you'd like me to see me put into words on my current thoughts? Anything at all for my 2 viewers, my brilliant 2 viewers have been with me from the start. Thank you for continuing to be with us for this sort of live stream. It's just an experiment, as I said in the description. My first one of this type. Why did I decide? That is a good question. A good question that's just popped into my mind. Why? Why did I want to do this? Why did I want to do a live stream of philosophy, of discussion, of reflection, especially on New Year's Eve? Let's ponder that. Allow you to ponder that. Ponder that. Why am I doing this? Why have I decided that now is the time to do a live stream of philosophy on a night where we celebrate endings and beginnings? Why? Why do you think that? Why am I doing it? These are questions. These are things that we should discuss. Or should I just quote the Bible from the book of Genesis, in fact. Very famous lines, very famous lines. Pretty much everyone knows them. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the creation and the destruction. All things are me, and I am all things. Yay, religion text. Woo! But yes, we are celebrating the beginning and the end, the creation of the new year from the destruction of the new year as we have made it, as we have decided. The greatest reason I do philosophy, the greatest reason I do discussion videos is for that, for the development, for the creation of new ideas, of the thought process of people, of their development of themselves and as a society, and the way in which we live, the way in which we think, and the way that we need to grow as individuals as well as a group and a species, as a race of humans, as humanity. We need to grow and develop and think beyond our current ideas, our current thoughts, our current understanding. We need to question it. We need to question why things are. By questioning these things, we learn, we grow, we develop. We're no longer that old person. We are a new person, a better person, a more developed, dare I say it, enlightened person, enlightened individual, enlightened society, enlightened, enlightened species, enlightenment, enlightened, enlightenment, complete understanding of the world, complete understanding of ourselves, or a complete understanding of the moment. What does it mean? What does any of it mean? What is the point? What is the reason? The reason is quite simple. The reason is because we can, because we want to. We want to develop. We want to grow. We want to live. And we want to experience life. That is the greatest thing that we can do. That is the reason I look into philosophy. I question these philosophies. I try to find out what your thoughts on these philosophies are by asking you at the end of all those videos to put your thoughts in the comments. By having a discussion of these things, we can see all angles, not just one. And by taking all those angles, we can come to a conclusion. That is our current understanding of that text, of that piece of wisdom, of that idea that gets us to question ourselves, our society, our place of living. Lovely colds. Question. What do we get colds? Damn colds, viruses, bugs. They don't care. They're just there. They do what they do to make us stronger. Think about it. If we never got ill, that would really be bad. We would not have an immune system to fight off disease, to fight off infection. This whole thing of getting ill, you're only ill after you're ill. It's your body fighting the infection, fighting the disease, the invader to yourself. You know, that's what it is. That is what it is. That is what it is. Interesting things. Interesting. All thoughts, all ideas. Have I got any qualifications? No. No, I don't have any qualifications on philosophy. I don't have any qualifications on psychology. I have no qualifications on math, science, religious studies. I do have a C in English literature. That's a GCSE. Whoa! I also have a higher national diploma, foundation diploma in performing arts and performance production. I have a GMVQ in ICT. I don't think GMVQs exist anymore. I know MVQs do. And a GMVQ was higher than an MVQ, I think. I can't remember. It was so many years ago. We're talking like 2000, okay? We're talking like 20 years ago. Shh. 20 years ago. Well, not quite 20. Oh, God. It would have been 20 years ago. Oh, my God. Yes. Yeah, I'm old. Shush. Quiet. I'm that old. Shh. Look, I remember when the internet wasn't the thing, okay? I remember when it first sort of started coming out, when it was dial-up. Don't worry if you don't know what dial-up is. You're not missing out on anything. I remember when phones weren't that common. We didn't have tablets, okay? Laptops weren't a thing. Laptops were not a thing. Computers were big, massive desk things. Now, the internet is still quite young, but it has been one of the greatest and most connective, as well as one of the most destructive forms of communication that we've ever invented. There's literally no filter on it. You can type anything into a search bar and you will come up with loads of results, millions of results. How are those search results monitored? Why is the one at the top? Why is the one at the bottom like a million pages down at the bottom? Is it relevance? Is it views? Is it the amount of times it's been clicked on? How is it moderated? How is that information verified? There is no verification. Anyone could put anything on the internet that they want to, be it from hate propaganda to pornographic stuff to stuff like this, where we're having discussions about these issues, about these things, about these philosophies, about the fact that the internet is an uncontrolled sort of complete utter randomness. There's so much stuff that you can find so easily. You can find out what your local prime minister, no, your local member of parliament voted on. You can find out pretty much where anyone lives. You can find out the history of places. You can view videos and pictures of people and places you've never seen and will never see. You can watch loads of cats videos. There's loads of cat videos. There's more cat videos than there is anything, but there's a lot of cat videos. Let's just put it that way. A lot of cat videos. We have a session of cat videos, and that has only come because of the internet. Where was I going with this? I was just sharing and sort of not sharing. Sharing is the wrong word. Talking about how things have changed in really such a short space of time. Even in the last 5 years, there's been massive changes. Absolutely massive changes. especially in United Kingdom, which would be the United Kingdom. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, world. We screwed up. I would like, before that becomes illegal, I would like to say that we have screwed up. We've messed up big time. Sorry. We're idiots. The media itself, especially in this country, most countries, can be biased. In fact, I'm biased. I'm biased in my opinion, which has been made by my experiences, by things I've read, by things I've seen, and by things I've watched. We are all biased in our own way, whether that be due to our upbringings or stuff that we are told and taught. That's definitely something that we can look into a bit more. Our biases. How can we change our bias? How can we change our point of view? By keeping an open mind and by looking at both sides of the argument before coming out to our decision. Okay, you can still look at both sides of the argument and we can completely disregard the other side, or make it so that that other side now fits with our ideas and our truths, if you will. Our truths, the truths that we believe are true. The ideas that we have must be true and must be certain and are moving. And regardless of any evidence or any sort of other ideas that may challenge that, you completely ignore them or adjust them to make it fit. That is what bias is. Our rose-tinted spectacles, if you will. Something definitely to think about. Something to ask yourself. How biased am I on this subject that you're listening to, or that you're reading, or that you're seeing on the news? And ask, why is it being reported in that way? What is the bias behind that reporting? What are they trying to make me think about by reporting it in this way? It's an interesting thing. It's an interesting subject. It's an interesting thought process. It's an interesting development process as well. Very, very, very interesting, and also something that we should really think about more often, especially when it comes to media. What is their purpose of reporting it? What is their goal? What do they want us to think about? And why are they doing it this way? Yeah, definitely a big thing. The same story can be reported by two different media outlets and be reported on completely differently. There may not be any upright lies in it, but the truth, whatever that may be, or the facts of that story may be turned, and some misinformation may be represented to get across that channel's opinion, their goals for that story. Same with newspapers. They can have the same stories, but they'll be worded differently. Because of the message that they want to get across, by the thoughts that they want you to have. Because so many people believe and stick with a certain newspaper or a certain news channel, their opinions will always be based off of those. Even if they do catch the headline of another newspaper, they will just dismiss it. Or if they catch the news on another channel, they can easily just dismiss it. They will go to the groups that reflect their opinions and will get and therefore vindicate their ideas. That's why we have so much issues with terrorism and stuff like that, because so easy to groom people nowadays. So easy. So easy to groom people nowadays. Oh, we're now down to the last 2 minutes of 2019. Yes? Yes, time has certainly flown. Time has flown. We have discussed, talked a lot. A lot. I have talked an awful lot. An awful lot about things that I've been thinking of, things that I've been looking at, and some things from a few books as well that I've been reading. And that is not bad, really, if you come to think about it. You know, we've had all this time together. I've managed to speak and talk to you in a way that I hope develops you as a new person. Now, would you please join me in this final minute of 2019 to celebrate the new year? In fact, let's do a countdown. Yeah, let's do a countdown. Get yourselves ready. Get yourselves organized. Get a glass of water or wine or alcohol or whatever you want. As we now are getting into the last 30 seconds of 2019. Count with me. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! It is now officially 2020. Happy New Year to everyone who has watched this video, everyone who will watch this video, those that don't watch this video, to all those around the world. Happy New Year to you. Welcome to 2020, the 1st of January 2020 at, 25 seconds past midnight. Fireworks are going off. I'm off to bed. I'm absolutely tired. I have no idea why I did this video. Thank you for joining me. Happy New Year to you, and I will see you in the new year. And until the next video, which will probably be recording, this is DCB. Knowledge is power if we use it wisely.